How you doing, everybody? Woo! My name is Matt. I'm from Brooklyn, and in the next 20 or so slides, in 5 minutes, I'm going to teach you all how to build your own obstacle-avoiding autonomous toy robot. Now, you all better pay attention. It's going to be fast. So if you want to try this at home, it's totally okay. You can download these slides or this presentation at darrownet.com/toy-robot. And if you run into any problems or you kind of need a little bit of help, please feel free to tweet me. So you're going to need all this stuff. But maybe not the high chair, but you're going to need all of these kinds of things here. You're going to have a lot of fun with that Swiss Army knife, actually. So I want to kind of get into what these pieces are and kind of a little bit of how much this thing is going to cost. We're going to start with an Arduino, more specifically an Arduino Leonardo. We're also going to use an Arduino motor shield. We're going to grab ourselves a gearbox with some motors, a little round chassis, some wheels, and that little ball bearing thing right there. Now that guy at the top left, that's the most important part. That's the ultrasonic rangefinder. We're also going to need like a little battery to power the Arduino and a battery pack to power the motors. Now this thing is going to cost around 150 bucks, and you could probably buy it pre-assembled for much less, but where's the fun in that, right? So starting with the build, we're going to start with the gearbox. This is actually the hardest part of this project, but luckily it comes in a kit, and there's some really detailed instructions, and it should take you around like 40 minutes to an hour to get done. Next, we're going to do a little bit of soldering. If you haven't done any soldering, it's real easy. There's lots of instructions on the internet. Get yourself a good gun and some helping hands, and you're going to want to solder some leads onto those motors. Next, we're going to build the chassis. And what that's going to be is we're going to start with putting that ball caster together, attaching the chassis to the gearbox, popping some wheels on, and now we're going to take some screws and some standoffs, and we're going to put that right on that chassis. And that's going to allow us to now mount some of the electronics. Now, speaking of the electronics, let's start with the ultrasonic rangefinder. Again, this is how this guy's going to see around. This can detect objects from like, let's say 3 inches to around 13 feet. And all you're going to want to do now is a little bit more soldering, put some leads on this rangefinder. And now we're going to have some fun with snapware, my favorite robot material. We're going to take that Swiss Army knife, gouge some holes in here to line up with those standoffs on the chassis. We're also going to make 2 holes on either end, one for the rangefinder, one for the wires on the motor, and some machine screws to mount that Arduino. Now to get that rangefinder on, we're going to use this fun stuff called shape lock. It's this like a moldable plastic that you put in hot water. We're just going to jam some in there, string that rangefinder through, and it's going to cure within like 10 minutes. All right, so now I kind of want to pivot over to the Arduino. If you don't know what these things are, they're basically easily controllable, easily programmable microcontrollers. And they use these things called shields that allow you to expand their functionality and do fun stuff. Like we're using this shield for our robot. Now there's another shield I want to talk about, it's the drink shield. This is an open source hardware that basically measures how drunk you are, and it turns any Arduino into a breathalyzer. And it costs around like 30 bucks. But it'll save you around $10,000 if you start behaving badly. So it's really cool. But I digress. Back to the robot. Okay, so we're going to take the Arduino, we're going to stack that motor shield on, we're going to kind of slide it onto those screws that we have on the lid, we're going to wire up the motors into those terminals on the back of the motor shield, and we're also going to pop on that rangefinder. Oh, but I forgot something. Before you put that motor shield on, you're going to have to cut that bin connection. That's going to make it so those 4 AA batteries you're using power the motors and not the Arduino as well. It's something about mixing up the power. I really don't know how it works, but you just got to cut that thing. Next, we're going to take the container of the snapware. Again, get that Swiss Army knife, gouge out some holes, and pop in those LED eyes. And we're going to take our battery. We're going to kind of stick it on the top. I use that dual lock tape, the stuff that holds your Easy Pass on. And we're going to make a hole for a USB cable. Okay, so we're almost done with the build now. You see this thing's all together. We have some really fun anthropomorphics for a toy, some little eyes, that rangefinder looks like a little nose there, but we're not done yet. We still have to program this thing. And to do that, we're going to use the Arduino IDE. You can download this for free from arduino.cc, and Arduino programs are called sketches. And I only have like 2 slides left, so I can't get into the sketch, but there it is right there. And you can download it from darrownet.com/toy-robot. So now it's going to be our last step. We're going to take the robot and we're going to plug it into our computer. We're going to fire up the Arduino IDE. We're going to load up the sketch. We have to be really careful to make sure that the robot is upside down, because when you load this thing on, those wheels are going to start moving, and you don't want it to walk off with your computer. That would be bad. All right, so here we go. 20 slides or less. I think I taught you all how to build your own toy robot. I hope you enjoy it. Go build this on your own. Thank you very much.